number you have dialed has been changed.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Florida Exotic Fish Sales. Today we are going to be checking our Cyphotilapia frontosa six stripers. And these are from Burundi. So we're going to see, these are not my normal check fish, but I'm going to check them for you so you can see what they are. We have 3 tanks of them, and these are wild. And you know what I see in there, Glenn? I think I see a xenotilapia from next door, which is, if he's in here and hasn't been eaten, that's very interesting.
He is in there, and he's actually from a previous batch, because he's about 3 times bigger than the other ones.
He might be one of the original wild ones.
Yep, I believe he is.
So anyway, right across there from here is our xenotilapia that are from Nyanza Lake. A very cool fish, but they are jumpers. I mean, when we go in them, we have to put a net up here, a screen up, to keep them from leaping out. Now, I imagine when I get close to the wall that it's going to start flying out of here. So I'm hoping it's in the net, so good. So he's going next door. He's a nice big old, looks like it could be a female. There it is. That is a female. That's a huge compared to what we have. But I'm going to gently place him next door. So anyway, I don't know what I'm going to find here. Like I said, these are 6 stripers. When you count stripes on a frontosa, you start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how you do it. So you start with the head stripe. I'm not sure if these are going to be holding, but I'm going to find out. And on these guys, I don't push from the bottom so much. They're so big that really all I'm trying to do is hold the dorsal fin down so they don't stab me. Okay, here you go. Eggs. Now, I'm saying Tony will be back in a week and a half.
Yeah, yep.
And he'll pull those. And he'll use his magic
incubator.
Yes, to do it. Now, I've got these set up. Originally, I set these up 2 males with 5 or 6 females, or whatever I've got here. And I've understood, here's another male. I'm understood that if I put, that's probably the dominant male. If you put too many males in here, they really won't, they're beautiful. Really won't do, they fight the whole time. So I minimize the males, and that helps out some.
So Rick, tell us about a tank size for these large growing fish.
Well, number one, they can get to be 10 to 12 inches, especially on the males. So you can start them off with a small tank, but if you want to keep them, you're going to need a big tank. So let's say if you have this colony right here, this tank is 300 gallons. And that would be wonderful. Now these fish, I've been told, I have a good friend in Canada, Spencer Jack, and he is, as far as I know, is one of the smartest guys on frontosas there is. And he says these things will breed 5-6 years. So I have no reason not to doubt that they will. Now this I don't understand, and I'll have to ask Tony later. Has a very small population in it. Oops, and 1 male just got out.
Yeah, when I drained it earlier, I noticed it was two males, and it's like...
Yeah, 2 giant males.
A little odd.
And still, these aren't full grown. But there was another male that big. And so I'm wondering why so few females to these males.
How about tank mates? What are we looking
at
as far as
in the lake,
community?
These guys are big time predators. You certainly wouldn't want to put what we've got over there in with them, which are sips, because I think, now she's got a mouthful of eggs. So again, week and a half. Now, we're not getting, you know, you might say, well, how come more fish aren't breeding? Well, I don't know when Tony checked them. He checks them I think he checks them every 12 days. So what the idea is, him checking them so often, is we're trying to get the female, pop the eggs, babies, get the female back into production without holding on to the eggs for, you know, the period of time that they will. They'll hold these eggs for 21 days. And during that time, they're not eating. So we like for them to stay as healthy fat as they can be. And therefore, he's checking them all quite regularly. Now this tank, for example, it's got 10 or 12 fish in it. So I don't understand, unless something happened next door. But, you know, one fish was holding out of 3, so I'm not going to guess what he's doing. But these guys, you could put these in with, the fact that it was in there with that little fish makes me, you know, they sometimes become tank mates and tank buddies, and they don't eat them. But if you were to take that sips and throw them there, they grab them. But you could put in here kind of like these are kind of middle water fish. You could probably put some of the ventralis types. You could certainly put julies and lamps that if you had rocks in there. But you certainly wouldn't put a lot of small stuff in there.
Would these be a candidate for, you know, just a general assortment of haps and peacocks?
No, I wouldn't put these, just because they're from the total different lake, I wouldn't put them together.
Yeah.
You could. I mean, I know people who have Frontosas in their peacock tank just because they want everything and they don't have but one tank. Another nice male. I don't know if, I think this is the dominant male though. And like, I don't know how, I wouldn't, yeah, this is for sure the dominant male.
I like the iridescence
on
his
and that big old hump on his head. Now all these humps and stuff have names that all the people call them nodules and stuff like that. But they're more and more pronounced. And I would say this fish is 9 inches?
Yep, probably.
So it's going to get this much bigger.
We typically always carry a $1 bill in our pocket. A dollar bill is about 6 inches, so that looks definitely bigger than a $1 bill.
And like I said, they will keep breeding for a long time. But we were raising up, I think we saw in one of our videos, this fish has something. I'm trying to wrap the dorsal fin down because it's got it jammed right into my hand. Do you see anything on them?
Yeah, they're.
He takes these.
I can't fully say that they're heads and tails, but they're definitely farther.
Yeah, those are good.
Than,
that's what he takes.
Yep. Spinners.
Now, when we said that's what he takes, Tony's determined that if they have that much tail and that much head in his system, he can raise them up.
Yeah, we've got basically a fully developed tail and head, and then just the...
But when I check these, if you notice what I'm doing is I'm trying to wrap, see this part of my hand? I'm trying to wrap the dorsal down, because if you don't on these big fish, I've got so many little pieces of dorsal fin stuck in me over the years. So I wrap that down, then I can look. And again, I think I'm seeing the same thing.
Yep.
So I'm gonna pop this. Now, you know, these fish can have, 60, 70 babies at a time. They're not doing that yet, but this is the first time they're getting cranked for the summer. Now these guys were feeding 1.5. And if I'm not mistaken, don't you feed them, Glenn?
Yep. They get 1.5, and then if I have extra, our secret mush,
yeah,
then I'll give them that, which is basically 1.5 with a little bit of flake kind of chunked up for them. So
yeah,
we take a bigger bite.
We take the 1.5, we take some krill, and we put it in a bucket, and we smash it together. And then Glenn will come out here and he'll feed these little teeny chunks, because Frontosas love to come they're aggressive eaters. And what you don't want them to do is come to the surface and hit a flake, because they'll gulp air. And then some of you have had Frontosas that are incapable of going to the bottom. A lot of the times it's because they've come up, gulped air to grab food at the surface. So we encourage whoever feeds these to stop. So if we're walking around with a bucket of 1.5, we just take a little bit of water and throw it in one of the corners, and we kind of stir it around. Then we start mushing it, and we make little pieces, and we toss them like this. If we just throw the 1.5 in, we try to throw it where they're not, because they'll immediately they'll see the bucket, and these guys recognize the bucket is food time, and they'll come running over to. They do, don't they?
Yeah, they come right up to the edge of the tank. They
they're nuts.
They know what it's about.
They'll thrash the surface. So I don't know that any of these guys are holding, but again, when we do a big fish on the farm, first thing we try to do is wrap the dorsal down. Because you can imagine squeezing that ain't gonna be comfortable. And they do that, that's protection. Because they make themselves as big as possible in case it's a bigger fish, like a big Blenderchromis, deciding that they're gonna eat this guy. But these are dynamite fish. I understand in the aquarium environment, and I can believe it, their personality comes out, and they almost become like, I've had friends who said they almost recognize people. But these, again, these are the Burundi variety of Frontosa. Now this female right here has only one eye, but that's not going to be passed on, obviously. That's from an injury. It probably happened when it was shipped here. But that's a nice female. So anyway, these are Frontosas. Cyphotilapia frontosa. Now, these over here are our 7 stripes. We're gonna do these next week. Now you notice they got a little bit of blue. Really kind of cool. We'll show you the babies too. These are Impimbuis. They're even bluer. We're gonna do these too. And we're definitely going through these because we looked at them the other day when we had a guest here on the farm, and they're overloaded with males, so they're not breeding. So anyway, that's checking Frontosas. We will take these in, and Tony will set them up in a tank and get ready to go. So thanks for visiting with us. Hope you all subscribe, give us a comment, and share us with your friends. And thanks for being at Florida Exotic.
Hey, we're going to Aquashella.
Oh, you know what? We're going to Aquashella, and that's in Dallas in the May. And we're going to be roaming the show on Saturday, and we're going to have t-shirts. And come up to us and talk to us. Now, I might require you talk to us that I know you're really a watcher of our YouTube, because I might ask you a few questions. If you're not, don't try to get a shirt from me just because you see other people getting shirts. I'll turn you down. Also, Extreme's going to be there, booth 402. They're giving away Wigglers samples. Now, Wigglers are newest.
Wrigglers.
Wrigglers. They're their newest product, and they're really proud of it, and I've seen it. It's neat. It resembles a worm as it's floating. As a high krill-based food, as it floats down, it almost wriggles like a worm. And I understand that even picky fish will eat it. So go by the booth, tell Andy, Keita, or whoever's there, Andy, that we sent you by there. Get your sample. We might be hanging at the booth. Don't be afraid to come up to us at the show. We're not gonna bite you. And we'll hope to see you there. So see y'all